Hey guys, welcome to my second video. I'm still getting used to all the editing and stuff, so I hope you guys don't mind that I took a bit longer than a week. But today we're going to be making a French shepherd pie. It's called hachis parmentier. And I know there's already like 1,000 videos on how to make cottage pie or shepherd's pie, but I promise you this French variation makes it a lot better. But before we get into the recipe, I want to say the best kind of meat to use for this is any leftover meat. That's why this dish was invented, to use leftover meat from whatever you've made before. But even if you don't have leftovers, I think this dish is still worth making because you can just make a big batch and feed a bunch of people and everyone will be really happy. Anyways, that's enough talking and let me get right into the recipe. So hachis in French means diced or small diced. You also have a bunch of freedom in what kind of vegetable to use. I'm using mushrooms, that's not really common, but I thought it would taste amazing, which it did of course, but I really recommend you just put in any vegetable that you think might taste good in this, and I'm sure it will turn out okay. They're just vegetables at the end of the day. But anyways, the most common vegetables you want to put in this is carrots, celeries, and onions. I left out the celeries because they just didn't sell them at my store for some reason. But anyways, right onto the meat. You'll see later, but this is actually a bit too big, or a bit bigger than I wanted it to be. But it's okay, just cut them into decent chunks, and then you just want to sear them off. You don't need to cook them all the way through, you just want to take it out once it has a good color on it, and make sure you do not wash the frying pan. Just put in onions in there, salt it, and put some oil, and you want to deglaze the pan. As a chef, if I skip this step, I'm definitely leaving work with a concussion, so please just don't forget to do it. Anyways, once you've sauteed the onions for around 30 seconds or a minute, you want to add in the rest of your veggies. I'll leave this up to your sense, but you kind of want to cook out the waters from these vegetables. And once you've done that, you want to add tomato paste, and you want to turn it on high heat and just cook the tomato paste, and this will just add a nice umami to this dish. You want to add your meat back in and all those juices, don't forget that. And then you just want to put in as much red wine as you think you'll need. Just enough to cover like half of the meat. Here I thought it was a bit too big, so I'm just taking it out, cutting it in half, and then putting them back in. It's no problem at all. Once it comes to a boil, you want to put it on low heat and let it cook for around 2 to 3 hours with the lid on. So here I'm going into my potato puree, which is basically mashed potatoes, but French. And what makes it French is you just use 10 times as much butter as you normally would. Anyways, you just want to cook them, and once they're fork tender, you want to mash them and add butter in segments. So split it into like 3-4 segments and add in your cold butter and mix them in slowly. This part is optional, but it does make your mashed potatoes a lot creamier, so I'm just running it through a fine sieve. Okay, so this is the part where you can get creative. If you don't want to, you can just put in milk and salt and it will still taste amazing, but this is just a chance to add any spices or herbs that you really enjoy. I'm adding dill just because the person I was making this for really loves dill, and I just thought this is the perfect time to put it in. If you're some type of rich person, adding in truffles now will make this amazing. But of course I don't have truffles, so I'm just settling with dill. Once your milk is warm, you want to slowly add it into your mashed potatoes and keep mixing until it becomes the right consistency. Once it's the right consistency, you just want to give it a taste and see if you like it. That's so good. It's so creamy, it's so buttery, it's amazing. Anyways, once the meat is done, you want to shred it. I thought that I'd make a mess in the pot, so I'm putting it into another bowl and then shredding it there, but guess what, I also made a mess with that again. So I'm not gonna show you guys this part, but yeah, just shred your meat. Once it's shredded, it will look a bit dry, but you wanna add it back to your sauce and it's gonna suck up all those juices. You want to turn the heat back on and just reduce until basically the bottom of the pan, when you scrape it back like I am now, you don't see much liquid at the bottom, just like this. Okay, the plating is very simple, just meat on the bottom, potatoes on top. A point to look out for is adding too much filling. Because you're gonna put this in the oven, if there's too much filling, it's gonna spill all over your oven, so just be careful. If you have extra time, which I didn't, so I made my camera woman do this, but if you score the mashed potatoes on top, when they come out of the oven, they will look really pretty. Just before you put it into the oven, you want to add some Parmesan cheese on top. And you can either broil it in the oven or put it to 180 degrees Celsius or 360 degrees Fahrenheit. Once they have a really nice color like this, it's done and it's ready to eat, but I recommend you let it cool down before you eat this. Anyways, enjoy watching me eat this and thank you so much for watching. Alright, let's finally try it. So this is just amazing. Please make this at home. You have to try this at least once. The potatoes, the mashed potatoes are perfect. Also just browning on the top with the cheese. And also just the meat. Just perfect combination.